From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Now at 6, Caltrans coming under fire for putting the brakes on traffic in Marin County. Commuters weigh in on carpool hour changes that nobody asked for.
People don't deserve to be sitting in traffic that was never there before. Why don't fix what's not broken.
The latest on a commuter controversy in Marin next.
Plus, football season is in full swing, and we're highlighting one 49er fan who's made tailgating an art form.
Niners on 3, 1, 2, 3. See what a difference that is?
How he turned his love for the team into a full-time gig.
Live from the CBS studios in San Francisco, I'm Brian Hackett.
And I'm Andrea Nakano. Highway 101 is a lifeline in the North Bay with tens of thousands of people commuting between Marin and Sonoma counties.
And they're doing it a lot more slowly now that Caltrans expanded carpool hours, massively slowing down traffic. Dial in reports on a situation commuters say was working fine till Caltrans threw in a roadblock.
Some North Bay drivers say the expanded carpool lane hours are horrendous, doubling their commute times. Now there's a change.org petition demanding Caltrans to reverse course.
It affected my commute by adding at least 30 minutes to my commute every morning.
More time stuck in traffic means less time with her 3-year-old son and family. Katie Clayton blames the longer commute on the expanded carpool lane hours on Highway 101.
It's frustrating, and people don't deserve to be sitting in traffic that was never there before. Why don't fix what's not broken.
Earlier this month, on September 8th, Caltrans extended the HOV hours. The new schedule runs from 5 to 10 in the morning and 3 to 7 in the evening in both Marin and Sonoma counties. Before, the rules were shorter and different in each county. In Sonoma, 7 to 9 a.m. and 3 to 6 p.m., both directions. In Marin, 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. southbound only and 4:30 to 7 p.m. northbound only. Caltrans says the new hours bring the North Bay in line with the rest of the Bay Area.
This is a big change, and Caltrans doesn't take it lightly. We're doing this to improve safety in the Bay Area.
But the hairstylist who drives from her Roner Park home to a Novato salon says the change is forcing more solo drivers into the general lanes, slowing everyone down. Katie started a petition on change.org. As of Sunday afternoon, nearly 5,000 people had signed, with hundreds sharing stories and frustrations on the site.
Cars sitting on the freeway, trucks sitting on the freeway, just wasting gas, putting more emissions into the atmosphere. That's the polar opposite of what they're claiming it's going to do.
Caltrans spokesman Vince Chikala says they consulted with other North Bay transportation agencies before making the switch. The expanded hours also coincide with the opening of new lanes between Novato and Petaluma, part of the Marin-Sonoma Narrows project.
Caltrans and the different agencies, we're going to take a look at that. We'll hear you very loudly. We're going to take a look at that, and then traffic engineers are going to take a look at the analysis, whatever time it takes, and then we'll decide.
Caltrans says reversing course would take time and a careful study. But Katie says she and others aren't giving up.
And I don't think other people are going to give up. This has added hours to people's day.
Even some North Bay city and county officials agree with Katie, saying those new hours simply don't work post-COVID because traffic patterns have changed. Again, Caltrans says any kind of change will take time, likely months away.
Okay, in the forecast, let's say you had not yet heard that there's rain coming on Monday. No doubt, just from looking at the sky today, you said, hey, it looks like it might rain soon. Virtual Set has the cold front on it already. There's going to be 2 cold fronts, by the way. Both of them are in that monitor, and we're going to look at both of those in this newscast. But for right now, I want to get you ready for the first one. This one right here, this is the live satellite, which has been updating. Let's put the rain in it, and let's bring that cold front forward. We got some time before this gets here, but you can see how this holds together, and by the time we get into Monday night, it's coming into the North Bay. It's going to take its time. I stopped it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. It's not here yet. I just wanted you to see it at its most impressive. Those are likely going to be thunderstorms up here on the far northwest coast. And then you can see the southern tail of that cold front's going to sweep through here. Let's put that in somewhat closer view and bring that home. I want to get the perspective on the first bands of rain which will arrive here. So now keep your eye on the time and watch the rain up here. It's going to come into the North Bay first by the time we get to Monday night around, say, 7 or 8 o'clock. So here's that cold front. So by now, that's about 1 in the afternoon, and you can see the North Bay's noticing its rain. Let's bring that forward now so you can see when it gets down to the city. I'm going to pause it right here for now. This might be the main event of the whole 3-day period of rain, and there is a chance of rain on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Way more time when you're not getting rained on those 3 days than when you are. It'll come through in individualized lines like this. That's the first one. It's very early Tuesday. We'll play the whole thing through in the full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. For now, guys, back to you.
Well, win or lose, 49ers fans still celebrate.
And our John Ramos spent some time with one tailgater who has found a way to document the moment.
We live in a time when everything in life is captured on video, from birth announcements to prom dates. But when one avid 49er fan began documenting his tailgates, he ended up with a whole new family as a result of it.
Basically, I go around the tailgates at Levi's and capture everybody just having fun. Then I put everybody together in one video, right?
Ken Gwanga was already a video producer when he decided to take his skills to the Levi's tailgating parking lots. And just like in the movies, everyone wants to be a director.
Niners on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more, but get a little more animated with the arms. You guys are just like this. Niners, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go. See what a difference that is? Thank you, guys.
He's developed a real following on Instagram, which makes him popular with the fans and with sponsors, like the whiskey company that provides him with plenty of free samples. He and his friend Raj Melwani have become genuine influencers among 49er fans.
We get so many brands that come to us because we have such a big reach that they want to put their brand on our page, give away stuff, they send us tickets to the games, so it's like a business now.
And now, just about everyone welcomes Ken to their pregame parties.
I love this guy. That's my favorite right here. Look at this.
Because he gives you booze?
Yeah, all day.
He has made friends. He takes pictures of other people's tailgates, posts them on Instagram, the different food that they have. So he gets the vibe going.
And when it comes to food, the vibe is definitely going at the Third Rail Niners tailgate, where you'll find founder and chef George Aston.
So we've been doing this for, I don't know, I want to say about 24 years. I've missed 4 home games in 20 years.
Aston makes his party a gourmet affair, tailoring each week's menu to the location of the opposing team.
So Jacksonville, I don't know how much homegrown cuisine they have, but we figure it's Gulf. We're going to make prawns and we're going to do surf and turf.
That meant tri-tip and shrimp sautéed in butter, with Ken capturing the moment for this week's online posting. Now he's an invited guest at just about any parking lot party, and his followers use his blog as a kind of tailgate travel guide.
It's super fun. I look forward to football season. And when we're winning, it elevates everything else, right?
Does it matter whether the 49ers are winning or not?
That's the whole thing about tailgating, is that, hey, I can go to a tailgate, and if you lose, you can always say that. Like, Niners might have lost, but I had a great time at the tailgates.
And coming up, a serious problem for athletes might finally get an early diagnosis. The latest on traumatic brain injuries when we come back.
Oakland celebrated its annual Mid-Autumn Festival at Clinton Park this afternoon. It featured Southeast Asian cuisine, traditional live performances, and lantern displays. The festival was hosted by the Oakland Vietnamese Chamber of Commerce. The chamber president said this year had a very special significance.
It also marks the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. And so you have a historic moment and milestone for our community, but also a cultural event in which families can connect their children to the culture.
The festival is also known as the Moon Festival. It's one of China's biggest holidays, celebrating the full moon, fall harvest, and family reunion, all under gloomy skies today, Darren.
And somewhat rainy over the next couple of days too, Andrea. So there are 2 cold fronts coming our way between tomorrow and Wednesday. So what I want to do first is show you the big picture of how this is going to play out, why it's going to take until probably Thursday morning before we're completely out of the possibility for rain from these. And let's try and time out the different fronts. So here's the first one. Couldn't miss this if you looked on satellite imagery. We'll do the wide view on this. You'll watch that first front that's going to come through, and that one will arrive and give us some rain by the time we get to tomorrow night. And again, we're going to slow this down and look at it all again in a little more detail coming up. But here's the big picture. First front comes through Monday night into early Tuesday morning. Then we're going to get a break. Like most of Tuesday, likely you're not going to get rained on. And look what's still sitting out off the coast. That's the next one. Looks a little better. I actually think the Monday night one's going to be more impressive here at home than that one will. But that one could deliver more widespread rain on the very tail end of it. And the tail end of it is likely not coming through here until we get into Wednesday. And when we play that forward, now you can see why I would say that. Because that's when we get a little bit more direct hit from that trailing cold front that'll come through. Wednesday right now looks like it'd be some of the more widespread rain, and it could come right through the middle of the day on Wednesday. That's where the timing stands on this one now. So Monday night into early Tuesday morning, and then perhaps Wednesday middle of the day. Those are our two time frames that we're really kind of focused on. Let's step that down again. And let's take a look at the leading edge of it. We'll come back home to the bay. Here's the rain for tomorrow night. Let's keep our view out off the coast there, up there in the North Bay. There comes the first cold front. You can see it's arriving by about 11 o'clock. So we're noticing this tomorrow night here through Sonoma County. But you can see this good-looking cold front sitting right here off the coast. Here's what might be the most interesting part of the whole three-day event. This first cold front in the early morning hours over the city. 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Some of these come through, and if we're going to see thunderstorms from either of these two cold fronts, this first one is the more likely one to do it, and this would be the most likely time frame it would happen, right here, midnight through 3 a.m. as it's moving across the city and the peninsula. So that's the first line. Of course, this is not done. Let's take it from there because you still now have Tuesday morning, and this is when we get the weaker edge of that cold front coming through the South Bay. So right about here, 7 a.m., you're still seeing some rain moving through the Santa Clara Valley, maybe some showers holding together here through the inland East Bay. And then when we get into the rest of Tuesday, we're pretty much done. I mean, we're going to get a break for the bulk of Tuesday. So let's go back out wide now. And let's take a look at that Wednesday. Remember I said the Wednesday middle of the day rain could be a little bit better? So there goes that Tuesday chance of rain. There's not a whole lot to it. And we're waiting for this line right here. Watch it. That little slug of moisture comes right in. And now we're looking at Wednesday from 11 a.m. on. And at this point, that's where the high resolution forecast model imagery runs out. You can only take these things so far. So these will be widespread showers that are going to go with us through the duration of Wednesday. And we might even have a few stragglers on Thursday. If we put this into a big picture summary, how much rain might we get over that entire period? And we color in the map. Maybe it's like about a half an inch of rain in the North Bay and maybe about a quarter of an inch of rain elsewhere. This is highly generalized, but that's just one way of looking at it for now. All right, let's get into the 7-day forecast and I'll show you what comes next because nothing's coming after that. We're going to get a nice break. In fact, a little bit of a warm-up as we get to next weekend. I don't have any rain after we get through with Thursday's stragglers. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is a lot of sunshine on there. Daytime highs well into the mid-80s. And when we look at the 7-day forecast for the Bay, the story is the same. Chance of rain on those 3 days, and then we'll clear out and relatively we'll warm up as we head towards next weekend. All right, Brian, over to you.
All righty, Darren. Thank you. Researchers at UCSF are studying the brains of more than 200 former athletes for signs of brain injury. Right now, a diagnosis can only be made post-mortem, but a new study is aiming to change that. The injury itself may lead to memory loss, trouble concentrating, and slurred speech. Kenny Choi has more on the research and how it can impact the lives of former athletes.
Concussions and repetitive hard hits to the head are often on the minds of football parents watching from the sidelines.
I'm concerned every time he takes a snap, every play he plays, I'm concerned something might happen.
Stephen Perini's son plays for Alhambra High School in Martinez, where two players recently suffered head injuries during a game.
Seeing that and just the air leave the stadium impacted me. So I decided that it was time to take some action to better protect the kids out on the field.
Perini launched a GoFundMe effort to purchase Guardian caps to help minimize injuries for the entire team. With the football season underway, a groundbreaking study is taking place at UCSF. 225 former professional and college football players are taking part as researchers hope to one day be able to diagnose CTE in living people.
All these white spots here represent areas of scarring or damage to the brain.
Dr. Gil Rabinovich is a neurologist specializing in memory, aging, and neurodegenerative diseases.
One of the conditions that can cause these scars is repeated head trauma or repeated head impacts.
Rabinovich and researchers are aiming to develop reliable diagnostic tests while exploring factors that influence who develops CTE and why.
We've gotten there with Alzheimer's disease, so we know it's possible. In Alzheimer's disease in the last 20 years, we've developed brain scans and blood tests that can actually detect the brain changes years and years before people have the earliest signs of memory loss.
The new 5-year study is a continuation of a previous CTE trial. Researchers concluded it's the number of years played that's a better predictor of CTE than the number of concussions suffered.
There's all these other blows that don't cause concussions that are maybe contributing as much to the risk of developing CTE and later life neurological and psychiatric decline.
As leading researchers hope to one day detect and treat CTE in living people, football parents like Perini believe changes to the game have made it safer for his son to play.
I'm definitely not trying to stand in the way of him chasing his dreams, but I do want to make sure that he has the most protection possible.
He understands there's a certain amount of risk in any sport that's played.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Welcome back. On this Sunday evening, a small town in Michigan is shaken up after a gunman crashed his vehicle into a Mormon church earlier this morning and then opened fire.
We're now learning at least 4 people are dead, with several others injured. Chanel Call has the details.
There's an active shooter at the church, and they're all PD's on scene saying the building's on fire.
Gunfire erupted inside this Grand Blanc, Michigan church during Sunday's service. Authorities believe 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford from nearby Burton, Michigan, drove this truck into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints before gunning down worshipers with an assault rifle and setting the building on fire.
I need manpower up here ASAP. I have people trapped in the building. Repeat, people trapped in the building.
The gunman was killed in a shootout with police. Tony Deck lives next door to the church.
I saw 4 tarps at the time. I don't know what's left there now, but 4 body tarps. It was right up the street from my house, probably 300 yards. Police everywhere, 50, 100 police cops, ambulances, fire trucks everywhere.
Thick, billowing black smoke could be seen for miles above and around the huge church complex for hours before crews put out the fire.
And we do believe that there was people up there that were near that fire and they were unable to get out of the church. So we do believe that we will find additional victims once we're able to search.
And the attack comes on the same day that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints worldwide is mourning the death of its prophet and president, Russell M. Nelson.
The church issued a statement saying, in part, places of worship are meant to be sanctuaries of peacemaking, prayer, and connection. We pray for peace and healing for all involved.
Evil has come ashore in Southport, North Carolina.
In North Carolina, 3 people were killed. 8 others were injured after a gunman there on a boat opened fire at an event happening on shore. Authorities were able to track down the alleged shooter, identified as Nigel Max Edge. He's been charged with multiple felonies, including 3 counts of murder.
There is an outdoor deck which faces the water, and there was a lot of people out there last night just enjoying live music under the stars. Sadly, a lot of the victims in this case appear to be not members of our community, but people who are here on vacation.
The District Attorney's Office is assessing other charges as well as whether to ask for the death penalty. Andrea?
Well, Oregon is suing the Trump administration over the president's plans to send troops to Portland. The suit alleges that the president unlawfully ordered the deployment of 2nd Oregon National Guard members for federal duties. The Secretary of Defense sent a memo to Oregon's governor saying the troops would be deployed for 60 days with orders to protect federal property. President Trump says the city is under siege by Antifa, but the governor is pushing back.
There is no insurrection. There is no threat to national security. and there is no need for military troops in our major city.
The governor said troops should be dedicated to what she calls real emergencies. Senator Rand Paul spoke about the president's plans for Portland on Face the Nation this morning.
I think he has the legal authority to send troops to protect federal buildings and federal proceedings such as courts, and that's been around since the civil rights era. We've acknowledged that the federal government will sometimes come in despite what states say. I do think it's better when the states agree to it.
The president posted on social media that he will send troops to immigration facilities that he says are under siege by Antifa or other domestic terrorists. The National Guard is set to arrive in Memphis later this week.
And coming up, police in San Bruno pulled over a car last night. The only problem was there wasn't a driver. Why they stopped a Waymo during DUI enforcement.
Right now, a bill that could save Bay Area transit is sitting on Governor Gavin Newsom's desk. This comes as BART, Muni, and Caltrain all face massive deficits. Our Max Darrow has more on the legislation and spoke to a regular rider about what's at stake.
Another day, another ride on Muni for Maria Meyer. She's a regular public transit user who's rode the bus for
over 50 years.
She is not associated with any transit advocacy groups. Her honest take on public transit right now.
It's working really well for me.
She says based on what she sees, regular ridership must be improving.
More people are going to work downtown, and I see more people on the buses.
She is correct. Ridership is recovering for Muni and public transit systems across the board, but it's happening slowly. SFMTA data shows Muni's average weekday ridership in June was at about 482,000 people. That's about 68% of pre-pandemic ridership. BART just saw its best August since before the pandemic and is on track for an even better September, but ridership is still only at about 45% of where it was before COVID. Caltrain's August ridership increased by 61.5% from last August, but is still only at 55.9% of pre-pandemic figures. Something Meyer thinks would help get more people on board.
Maybe the different agencies need to communicate better to make one system that all of which support one another better.
According to BART spokesperson Alicia Trost, that is beginning to happen in ways it hasn't before.
Every transit system is working together, not as separate agencies, but finally as one network where we're syncing our schedules. We're talking about the rider experience so that when you go from one system to the next, it's that easy transfer. We need to act as one network now more than ever before, especially as we're asking for greater investments.
That message comes during Transit Month, a time to celebrate and encourage people to take public transit.
You've got your sticker, so you get to pick.
Trost and other BART leaders spent a day giving out prizes to riders.
I'll take the plushies. Awesome. Thank you for riding.
Meantime, agency leaders continue to urge Governor Gavin Newsom to sign SB 63, a $750 million lifeline to keep transit moving for the next few years until voters have the chance to weigh in on a 2026 tax measure that would help fund public transit. Kaylee O'Mark is with Seamless Bay Area. Jaime Valoria is with San Francisco Transit Riders. These are the two advocacy groups that came up with Transit Month.
We're really at an inflection point in our public transit system.
They argue that the Bay Area will be better off economically and environmentally with a stronger public transit system.
So it's really important that we not only protect the system we have, but improve it for riders so that we can attract more people to take the system. If we don't fund transit soon, we're just going to take like 2-3 steps back. And it's going to be more expensive trying to bring us back to where we're at right now.
Like many, Meyer knows the road ahead for public transit isn't necessarily straightforward.
I'd like to see it expanded. I mean, I understand, you can't work with no money, but I do think it would be a kind of a false economy to pretend that it doesn't have a major impact on life.
Draw and play. Ultimately, lawmakers and voters will have to decide which lane they think is best.
Well, since we're on the subject of transportation, San Bruno police officers had quite a story to tell after a bizarre moment during a DUI enforcement stop. In a picture released by the police, the photo shows officers pulling over a Waymo. The thing about Waymos is they usually don't have a driver. Police say that during a DUI checkpoint, the driverless car made an illegal U-turn in front of them at a light. Officers stopped the car, and they were able to contact Waymo about the glitch in a first for those officers. San Bruno police say that a citation was not issued because there was no driver. In the press release, the police department pointed out there is no current law, but there is legislation in the works aimed at issuing notices to companies. So we shall see. Here's Darren.
They just give it to the guy who had the remote control with the big antenna who was driving that thing. I probably need a refresher on the concept. All right, take a look at what's going on. One cold front right off the coast, another one coming in behind it. Two separate rainmakers spread out over 3 days, and it's starting tomorrow night. We'll time them all out. I'll have the details coming up in the forecast next.
And welcome back. In Eye on America, we look at issues facing the country, and tonight we conclude a two-part investigation into the use of animals for scientific research. Pressure's building to end the multi-billion-dollar industry.
But with few scientific alternatives, animal testing remains critical to saving human lives, including one Bay Area girl. Jim Axelrod has the story.
When dozens of monkeys made a break for it from this research facility in South Carolina last November,
workers are laying traps to catch dozens of monkeys that escaped from a research facility last night.
most people following the story didn't know what the monkeys were running from. But as animals used in government-funded medical testing, they were actually fleeing for their lives.
We're excited to work with you, DOJ, the administration, and others to continue cutting wasteful spending on animal experiments.
But this brewing political fight about the future of animal testing and millions of dollars of funding for animal experiments being cut.
Today we announced a dramatic reduction in animal testing at NIH and FDA.
May shape the quality of human lives as well. In San Rafael, California, Justin and Rosalind Porcano's 7-year-old daughter Leah has a rare genetic disorder, Usher syndrome type 1B. She was born deaf, and without new treatments, she faces even more challenges ahead.
If we don't find a treatment, Leah will most likely be legally blind before high school.
So she'll be blind and deaf?
Yes.
And this will happen in the next 7-8 years?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When Leah was diagnosed, her parents looked everywhere for a way to help her. They found a scientist at the Oregon National Primate Research Center who provided hope through testing with monkeys.
I think about I'd rather not be testing in a non-human primate, but what are the options?
What's the alternative?
Yeah, you can't just stop testing in all animal models right now. It's a crazy concept.
The Porcanos feel primate testing is the best bet for now, but they're also placing hope in new technologies being developed in labs like this one at Johns Hopkins University.
If the future provided a way to do all the testing in a lab and no animals suffered, would you be in favor?
Absolutely.
Of course.
But as of now,
we're not there.
We're not there yet. And we don't have the luxury of time.
This is kind of my dream. Here in Jack Thornton's lab, they're working on something that sounds like science fiction. Organoids.
It's an emerging technology.
It's the early days.
Yeah, we're still getting there.
Grown from human tissue, organoids are cells from specific organs that could one day make animal testing obsolete. But not yet, says Paul Locke, who oversees the lab.
I want to see us get out of the business of using animals in research. The question is when. The answer is not tomorrow.
But this little girl may not have time to wait for one day.
Yeah, buddy.
Wow, that's something. Check out that video. One of our viewers, Nick Desley, sent us video of whales breaching the water right under the Golden Gate Bridge. And that's something. Caught that scene while on tour as a guide for Local Light Bay Area Adventures. And at one point, you can see the weather right here. You can see the whale's tail slap of the water. Great,
Cool.
Great video, Darren.
Wow. I mean, that's like extreme jubilance and just enjoyment of life happening right there. Humpbacks can be so charismatic, and to think they were right there. How awesome. We get them here in the Bay on occasion. Hopefully they don't stay too long. They shouldn't be there for too long. All right, let's get into the forecast. Take a look at the cold front that's coming our way. We're going to time out both of them. So I mentioned earlier there are two. We'll watch the progression of this first cold front. This is the rain that gets here late tomorrow night. So most of tomorrow you're not going to get rained on. But by tomorrow night, that cold front is going to sweep through. In fact, let's just play that ahead to when we'd likely get it, right about there. And we're going to slow this down in a second, by the way. We're going to put it down on the local map, and I'll walk you through details. But this is just the big picture, so you can see how this is going to go. Two separate cold fronts. First one, primarily Monday night into Tuesday morning. Then we're going to get a little bit of a break for the majority of Tuesday, maybe a few showers on Tuesday as that system approaches from the north. But there's a little bit of a head fake because the second system is actually going to bring us its better rain on Wednesday. So think Monday night into Tuesday morning for the first cold front. And then think Wednesday right in the middle of the day. Look at the timestamp there. And that's a pretty good plume of moisture pointed our way. Now, the forecast models have been adjusting these things, almost, at least daily. So we're close enough to this now that we can start looking at these with a little more confidence and start showing you the details on these latest high-resolution models to come away with the best idea on timing. Things could still adjust. But it's a pretty good bet when we're this close to these things. You can start making some plans here. So here's the first one on the closer view. This is the first Monday night cold front. By the time we get to like 11 o'clock at night, it's already raining up here in the North Bay. You'll see the first showers come through up here. But there's no denying at this point, the most impressive part of this is that southern branch of the cold front, which is then going to sweep right across the city and the peninsula in the pre-dawn hours. Shall we look at that? 1 a.m., 2 a.m., this now comes across the peninsula in the city. This might be the more impressive time out of the whole 3-day period. This very early Tuesday morning pre-dawn hour cold front could have some isolated thunderstorms mixed in that line where you get into those deep shades of red. That shows you where the system is able to produce some pretty notable convection, maybe some heavier downpours, maybe an occasional thunderstorm. That would be in the 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. We're not going to lock it in too specifically to times, but that's a good general idea. The early morning hours on Tuesday. But the cold front weakens from that point Tuesday morning as it moves across the rest of the Bay. It delivers some rain, perhaps on the morning commute down here in the Santa Clara Valley, probably for the Tri-Valley as well. But this is really the last gasp of this cold front number one, Tuesday morning, as it kind of falls apart and dissipates and moves out of the Bay. And then for most of Tuesday, we're likely not going to get a whole lot of rain. If we want to find that next one, we've got to scale things back up again. Let's take a look at the Tuesday rainmaker. We could get a few light showers out of it throughout the day up here in the North Bay. But remember, we're really waiting for that follow-up on Wednesday when what is left of a very weak atmospheric river gets pulled into the Bay. This would be the kind of setup that's more beneficial rain than anything else. This really shouldn't be a lot, but it definitely has some good structure to it and a long, narrow plume pointed at us. That's middle of the day on Wednesday. So if we're curious to see how much rain we might get out of this, we'll leave behind the system as a whole, and let's paint the map for rainfall totals. And when we do this, it's still a widely varying story. This is one general takeaway on this. So think about a half an inch of rain in the North Bay total for both of them. Maybe a quarter of an inch of rain for just about everywhere else. And that's pretty much where things stand at this point. And by Thursday, we're done. So let's get into the 7-day forecast and we'll take a look at that. There's plenty of sunshine by the end of the weekend, next weekend. Daytime highs will climb again for inland locations. They'll be in the mid-80s. And when we look at the 7-day forecast for the Bay, we get a similar story there with those two. You can see the pattern there. The rain shows up in the terrariums on Monday and Wednesday, primarily. All right, guys, back to you.
All righty, Darren, thank you. Coming up next. For one Bay Area woman, online dating just wasn't cutting it. Why she took more drastic measures to find her soulmate. You'll see that when we come back.
Well, how far are you willing to go to find love? For one Bay Area woman, it was Highway 101.
To let people know that she's on the market, she advertised it on giant billboards along the busy highway. Sarah Donchie has more on her search to find a husband.
I never thought that this would be something that I would do. No. Like never. No. It takes a special kind of courage to put yourself out there like this.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm looking for love, and I'm trying to find it alongside of one of the San Francisco Bay Area's busiest highways.
No, it's not how it sounds, though you might see Lisa on the side of the highway if you look up.
I figured, you know what, I'm just going to make my own website, and I kind of channeled my frustration a little bit into that. And then I was thinking, well, I have to promote the website somehow. How am I going to do that? And then, you're just driving along 101 and you see all these digital billboards. And I figured, well, yeah, hey, it's a local form of it's a very local form of advertising. It's targeted and, captive audience, if you will.
Lisa, who describes herself as a woman of many hobbies and who runs her own vintage clothing store, is also the woman behind MaryLisa.com.
I mean, I really tried to think of everything when I made the website.
There you can read about her interests, check out her pictures, and even read anonymous references, if you will, from friends and family. You can also apply for a date. I pointed out this sounds like a job interview, and to that, Lisa says,
yeah, it kind of is a big application for, I think, the most important person you'll hire in life.
Dating was just not working for Lisa. She'd had other relationships, including a longtime partner who passed away. But since then, it's been harder to actually break through the initial swiping to make it to substantive dating. Lisa has approached the website and billboards like a kind of part-time job. She's planned for safety, screens her messages, checks her web traffic.
When I first told my friends and family about it, I think at first everybody was shocked and questioning whether or not this was a good idea. And then after, it took anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 weeks for people to kind of be like, well, you know what? Okay, sure, why not?
And she even optimized the 8-second digital billboards, timing them perfectly with the morning and evening commutes. Since she's launched her efforts, she's gone semi-viral on TikTok, has gotten calls from reporters, and had thousands of visits to her site.
I was definitely prepared for negative comments, very prepared for negative comments, because of course you're always going to have those. I was not prepared for the volume of positive comments. I'm 42 and I want to start a family, so I want to make sure that when I start to date someone, that there's not going to be something that comes up that's a deal breaker for me 6 months or a year into the process.
Oh, and if you think she stopped, thought it was you. And if you think she stopped at billboards, you thought wrong.
Lisa also bought ads on top of taxis in San Francisco. She says she will keep going until she finds her Mr. Right.
By the way, I looked up how much it costs to rent a digital billboard on 101.
Oh, yeah.
And it ranges, important part of the story, it ranges between $1,000 and $50,000 a month.
Oh,
depending on placement. So it's not ain't cheap.
Good luck to her.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. 60 Minutes is next, and we'll see you back here at 11.